Hello, Texas 4-H. My name is Molly Keck, and I am with the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service and the Department of Entomology. I am also one of the authors on the 4-H Entomology Guidelines. These videos were developed to help you better understand what you need to know for the Entomology Identification Contest. Remember, for each specimen, you need to know their common name, what order they're found in, what their life cycle is, what type of mouthparts they have, their host or location or where they are found, and their significance. Are they a pest, beneficial, inconsequential, or variable? This study video is covering all of the specimens that intermediates need to know for Hemiptera, Hemiptera. So as a reminder, Hemiptera is an order of parametabolous insects. They have a gradual metamorphosis, gradually turning into an adult. 3 stages: an egg, a nymph, and an adult. And we call the immature stage for this Hemiptera group a nymph, but there are some aquatic Hemipterans. So Hemipterans are all of the true bugs. Their host is very broad. It's going to depend on the species or specimen that we're looking at. They are considered pests, beneficial, and in some situations inconsequential. They have a gradual or parametabolous life cycle, and they have piercing and sucking or haustellate mouthparts. So this entire order have those piercing and sucking haustellate mouthparts. The order Hemiptera can be further divided into 3 suborders, and if you can kind of organize these suborders, it will help you to identify the specimens a little better. It's a good idea for intermediates and seniors to know the 3 different types of suborders, especially if you're going to be competing at the state level. You will be required to differentiate between the suborder Heteroptera, Echinoranca, and Sternorhyncha. Starting out with that suborder Heteroptera, these are all the true bugs, and their host is going to, again, depend on the species. They're pests and beneficial. All have gradual parametabolous life cycle, piercing and sucking mouthparts because they're within that order Hemiptera. We're just subdividing them out. So this suborder Heteroptera are all of the true bugs, and the way that their wings lay over their back is how you can easily identify that this is in the order Heteroptera. Imagine that the wings are attached on the shoulders where these blue dots are, which they are. And when they lay those wings across the back, they'll fold flat against the back. And when they do that, it forms a triangle. So when you see a triangle on an insect, you're looking at a Hemipteran in the suborder Heteropteran, all of the true bugs. The wider the back, like this one, the bigger the triangle. The thinner, more narrow the back, the smaller the triangle may appear. The other thing that you might notice, so these have Hemiptera, which is half of their wing is hard. So hetero means different, and ptera means wing. Half of their wing is hard, and the other half is membranous. And so when that membranous part of the wing overlaps, it has a different texture or look to it. Hemiptera is a good term that I would know that is only found in the order Hemiptera, suborder Heteroptera. Backswimmers are a species of beneficial predators, or a group of beneficial predators that swim upside down. They have multiple adaptations to their body that make them good at swimming and meant for living in the water. One is that their hind legs are modified to be like long oars to help them scoot through the water. Their body is shaped like a boat so that it can fly through the water a little faster. And they're called a back swimmer because they swim upside down. So the top part of their body is lighter in color and the bottom is dark, which is oftentimes opposite of a lot of insects. And if they're swimming upside down and their belly is showing and they're darker on the bottom, this means that when a bird or a predator is looking down into the water, it's going to blend in with the dark of the water. By swimming upside down with the back being visible, if you're a fish or something looking up, it's going to blend more into the sky. So that two-tone is an adaptation in order to be avoided by predators. Bed bugs are another pest insect, or are a pest Hemipteran. These do not have wings. This is another pest insect, the bed bug. Bed bugs are wingless Hemipterans in the suborder Heteroptera. They're parasites, and so like with most parasites, they do not have wings because they would just get in the way. Their hosts are humans. They can also be found in cracks and crevices. They like to hide under things or in seams. They thankfully do not transmit diseases, but we can easily move them between apartments or in other places because they love to hitchhike and grab onto our bags or other belongings, and we'll move them from one spot to the next. Giant water bugs are fairly large insects that can be up to 3 inches in length, but there are some species that are much smaller. They're predatory, and so they're beneficial. The host of where they are found is water or pond, and they tend to be attracted to light, so they're sometimes called electric light bugs. They have modified legs also. Their body is modified to move through the water easily. Their hind legs and mid legs are kind of flattened and wide like an oar, with a lot of surface area with those little hairs, and then their front legs are raptorial so that they can reach out and grab prey. So they have both natatorial and raptorial modifications to their legs. Green stink bugs are your typical green stink bug looking insect. These are considered pests. Their host is a variety of different plants. For the contest, plants is adequate, but within that plant range, this can include weeds, anything in your garden, field crops, so they can be an agricultural pest, and they can also be found on roadside flowers or wildflowers. Harlequin bugs are another pest insect. They are a red to orange color with black marking. They look like a harlequin, which is kind of like a jokester. They are a type of stink bug, so they smell when you touch them or irritate them or smash them. And their host are cole crops, C-O-L-E crops. These are lettuces, cauliflower, broccoli. Some spinaches are considered cole crops. Some kales are considered cole crops. So these are a pest insect feeding on those vegetable cole crops. The squash bug is another pest. One trick is that if a plant is in its common name, there's a very good chance that it's going to be a pest insect. And there's also a pretty good chance that the name of the plant is one of their hosts. So in this case, that is true. These are pests of squash and other relatives such as pumpkins and other cucurbits. I would be very careful as an intermediate or senior to be sure to be able to differentiate the difference between squash bugs and kissing bugs, because the squash bug looks most similar, I would say, to a kissing bug. Toad bugs are a small insect that's only about 1/2 inch long. It's kind of warty and bumpy. It looks to be the color of a toad. It has eyes like a toad. It can even hop like a toad. So it kind of mimics a toad, which is what gives it its name. It is considered beneficial. You can see from the front legs that it does have raptorial legs. They are not technically an aquatic insect or an aquatic hemipteran because they're not found in the water. They're found along the rocky shores of lakes or ponds. So they're found along shorelines. Chinch bugs are another small insect that is considered a pest. They are a host of grasses, so they're going to be a pest in your lawn, places like that. They really thrive when it's very, very hot. And so a lot of times at the end of the summer, when your turf is already stressed out, these guys can come in and really make the turf look pretty bad. They suck on the juices of the plant. As it matures, they're kind of yellowy, reddish in color with a white stripe down the back. As adults, they're black and white, kind of a pearly colored. The legs can appear to be reddish in color sometimes. There's not a whole lot that's very characteristic about these guys, so it's just important to kind of memorize and how they look, and that these guys are chinch bugs, but you'll find that there's many other insects in the Hemiptera group that look pretty similar to them. Flea hoppers are a very small greenish colored, almost clear or white colored insect. They're cotton flea hoppers, and so cotton is their host, and they are a pest. If a plant name is in their common name, then there's a good chance that they're a pest of whatever what that is. But they use their piercing and sucking mouth parts to feed on the cotton and cause major problems in cotton systems. Leaf-footed bugs are another pest. They have a flattened hind leg that gives them that name, leaf-footed bug. They're going to be found on a number of different plants or weeds. For the contest, no plants or weeds, but They are also found on tomatoes, southern peas, and soybeans, along with other plants. They all have that flattened leaf. So you may not necessarily get this exact species with the white stripe down the back, but if you see an insect that has the flattened hind leg, it's a leaf-footed bug. This particular species is dark brown with that line across the back, and this particular species is a little more prevalent in those agricultural systems or those vegetable crops. Water striders are another aquatic hemipteran, and you notice that so far all of the aquatic hemipterans tend to be beneficial because they tend to be some sort of a predator. Their host is ponds. They are found in running streams where they are feeding on other things, and they tend to not necessarily go underneath the water, but be on top of the water. They have long, skinny legs that they stretch out, and so this kind of expands their mass and their weight is not all in one little part where they can fall through the surface of the water. So this allows them to be less dense than the water and to be able to walk on top of the water. Here's your kissing bugs. They do look similar to squash bugs with the markings along the abdomen, the kind of orange or red checkered pattern. Kissing bugs, however, tend to be a tad larger. Their shoulders are thinner. Their head is much thinner. Another common name for them is a cone nose bug. So they have this long, skinny cone-shaped head, which is really what should help you differentiate them from the squash bugs. This is a pest. They feed on blood. They feed on the blood of basically any animals. These can be reptiles, they can be amphibians, they can be birds, they can be mammals, including humans and other dogs or other types of mammals' pets. So animals as a whole is going to be their host. These tend to feed at night, come out and are nocturnal and feed at night, attracted to lights, and hide during the day under piles of debris, under shingles, under loose siding, underneath bark, under piles of rocks or piles of wood. So they're hiding during the day and they come out to feed at night. They are in the group of assassin bugs, but they're different from all the other assassin bugs because they have that black and orange or red pattern along the exposed part of the abdomen, and their wings kind of sit inside with the abdomen kind of like lifted up, raised up on the edges. That concludes our final hemipteran in the suborder Heteroptera for intermediates. Be sure to check out further videos for the suborders Echinoranca and Sternoranca so that you know all of the specimens in the order Hemiptera that you are responsible for. For more information, study guide materials, and more, please visit the Texas A&M Entomology Department Extension website. Visit entomology.tamu.edu/extension. Scroll down and click on 4-H and Youth Programs.